Welcome to a Telltale Books video. I'm Greg, and this is our September 2025 monthly wrap-up. We are Telltale Books, bringing you the best in literature, literary topics, and graphic design and bookmaking.
If you want to support us, you can find us on Etsy and Pango, where you can find gently used, rare, and even top quality used books.
And if you like this video, be sure to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and maybe even that bell to be notified when new videos go live.
Thanks for joining us.
First thing we start with on these wrap-ups is always whatever news items have come along. And I only have one thing new. I mean, there's some other issues like the Audible.com issue and the Audra Winter issue. Those are continuing to be issues in the literary world, but there's really nothing more I can add to that. But I have come across one new item. It's a business that's started up called Lit Society. It's kind of like a book club, but it promises to be more than a book club. It's expensive, and it's tied to a business that is creating some very expensive limited editions. They're beautiful books, but they cost hundreds of dollars. And the Lit Society side of it is a lot more than books. They're offering a lot of items like candles, and they're even offering artwork. And of course, the social aspect of the whole thing is also offered through it, and you pay a monthly fee. And you pay for the things that are then offered to members. I don't want to put down a business, but I do have my personal opinion of it, and that is that it's kind of pretentious. It's very expensive, and kind of makes itself more exclusive, more like a rich person's country club for literature is what it comes across like to me. And it bothers me because, of course, it's only going to be very wealthy women that are going to be involved in this. Maybe some men would get involved in it, but it seems very geared towards the women. And of course, women are the majority of the readers, majority of the people buying books right now. So it troubles me because it's not very much. It's only open to those people who have enough money to pay for entry, which is going to limit it, and it's going to push it towards being primarily very well-off white women. And this is going to go down a road of turning literature into something that's only for the elite, that's for the rich. Obviously, there's so much that we have open to us to access, all those of us that can't afford something like this Lit Society, but it still kind of opens that door and starts pitching reading and literature as something for an exclusive club. And I just find that troublesome. I think things should be more affordable, and I think things should be more accessible to a greater number of people. And doing it this way, I mean, like I say, it's a business. They're selling. If they make money, great. If they're successful, great. I don't think this is going to be so hugely successful that it's going to force everything else, all the other activities surrounding reading and publishing out of business, But it does kind of open what I think to be a dangerous precedent. So that's the one news item, and that's my opinions on it. It's just my opinions. I don't harbor any ill will towards them as a business. If they can make it work and they can get people that are willing to join and pay the price and succeed and make a profit, fine. So long as the rest of us can keep going the way we have, it hurts nothing. I'm just worried about the people that'll join it if they're going to see themselves as kind of snooty gatekeepers and start trying to control more than just what's in the Lit Society. It's a concern. It's a very weird thing with a lot of potentially, nothing that's there right now, but potentially down the line, some serious issues coming from a business like this. More from the attitude of the people who would patronize a business like this, let's put it that way, not from the actual business. So, on to Telltale stuff. We've got a lot of stuff going. I've got some new books added to my collection, some very interesting new books. First of all, a couple of them that I bought, because I've never read Chelsea Quinn Yarbrough, and we lost her this month. She passed away, so there will be no more stories coming from her. And so I wanted to take this time to correct my neglect of her work in my library, and I got copies of Time of the Fourth Horseman and False Dawn, which are two of her earliest and best loved novels. So I really want to read those. I've always been intrigued and just never got off my butt and did it. And so I'm using this occasion to compel myself to do it. Another one I found is The Martian by du Maurier. Okay, it's not The Martian by Andy Weir. It's not the du Maurier of Rebecca fame, although the author of this is her grandfather, George du Maurier, I believe. Yeah, George du Maurier. And I've got an awesome first U.S. edition for my collection. Didn't cost a huge amount, so I jumped on that. And don't know a whole lot about it. Don't know a whole lot about George du Maurier, but I'm looking forward to reading that and finding out. It's a neglected and lost science fiction classic. So it's the exact sort of thing that is right up Telltale Books' alley. So I'm going to be reading and reporting on that as soon as I can. For the Blackheart Books Book Club, which if you're in the area, they are part of a group having a Nightmare off 8th Street block party in Manitowoc, Wisconsin this weekend on Saturday from, I believe, 11 till midnight or 11 to 11, something like that. I'm going to be volunteering there. There's going to be bands, there's going to be food, there's going to be vendors, there's going to be costumes. It sounds like a really good time for Halloween. And I've been avoiding the Blackheart Books Book Club because I've been so busy with the stand, I haven't had time to read any of the books that they've been doing. But now I'm done with the stand, and I'm hoping, I do have kind of a full month for October, but I'm hoping to find enough time to read The Silence of the Lambs, which is the November pick for the book club. And I got myself a nice early copy. It's not a first edition. I think it's second edition of the book is when they came out with this cover. But it's in great shape, and I didn't pay a huge amount for it. Got that one, I think, off, I can't remember if I got it off Abe Books or Pango Books. I think I went to Pango Books for that one and got it at a really reasonable price. So, excellent book. And I love the movie, of course. I've always loved the movie. Great movie. I've never read any of the Thomas Harris books, so I want to read Silence of the Lambs. And I will do a video sometime after the book club in November. I'll post a video of my thoughts on that. And I did also get this book, which I'm going to be going through and doing all the short stories. It's a short story collection by Jonathan Lethem, A Different Kind of Tension. It's a brand new collection, just released, just received this last week. I mean, I started reading this off NetGalley, but then they archived it right away, and I didn't get anything but the first 3 stories done. So I pre-ordered a copy. It arrived, and I'm going to read through it and talk about it. I had never read Lethem before, and the first 3 stories that I read in the NetGalley electronic copy really interested me, so I wanted to read the whole thing. And then they go and archive it right away. I assume it had been up there for a while and I didn't know about it. And I only found it when it was almost done. Additions to the collection. So that's what's in the future that's one of the things in the future for Telltale Books. Another of the things, of course, is Emily and I are going to read Authority this month and post that review video later. So I'm currently reading Authority by Jeff Vandermeer. That's the second book in the Southern Reach series now, because it's more than a trilogy. But it's the second book of the original trilogy. And Emily's already done with it. I've only just started it. So I'll be reading that. And like I say, I had been reading The Stand. I just recently finished The Stand. My review for The Stand is going up this week. I think this video is going up for Wednesday. I think The Stand is going to be live on Thursday on YouTube. Kind of a long video, but there's a lot to talk about, a lot to dig through with that book, so it had to be long. I hope you'll indulge me and listen to the whole thing, because it's a fascinating book. So that's coming up. Another thing I'm seeing is we're still struggling with numbers on YouTube. And we're not really doing anything wrong. Granted, we're not doing the most popular types of videos, but it's because we don't see value in those videos. And when we have tried doing those videos, we haven't gotten very good numbers on them. Everybody else gets great numbers on things like book hauls and top 10s and stuff like that. We haven't. We've done very poorly on things like that. So we stick closely to our reviews and videos like this, and we've got over 1,100 subscribers. But this past month, I've seen new subscriptions just completely level off, and the number of views for our videos is in the single digits. It's ridiculous. And part of it was something that YouTube did to us, but that's been corrected, and I'm not seeing things come back up very well. I am seeing better numbers on videos that are well-known stories. And Ray Bradbury does pretty well, even though I'm reviewing all these really obscure amateur things that he did at the beginning of his career. But there's a lot of other reviews we do that just aren't getting views. And, we're not here to talk about what everybody else is talking about. We're not here to do what everybody else is doing. There are a lot of other channels that do those things better than we can possibly do them. We're here to fill in those cracks that are being missed. And we're talking about stuff like The Martian and Time of the Fourth Horseman. I've never seen anybody talk about Chelsea Quinn Yarbrough at all. And Jonathan Lethem. I haven't heard anybody talking about Jonathan Lethem, even though his new book is out. There's just so much that's not being talked about out there. And Emily and I, sometimes we talk about popular stuff, but we mostly want to cover all those other things that we feel are worth talking about. And that's what we talk about, and we do reviews of them. We read them, we talk about them, we talk about topics that are important to us. That's what we are all about. That's our thing. And nobody else is really doing that. There are some others that are claiming to want to dig in and find unusual books, but most of them are finding old paperbacks that are really poorly written by these authors that nobody's heard of, and they read them for this purpose of making fun of them and making a joke out of them. And that's fine for them, but that's not what Telltale Books is doing. We are trying to find the gems in all those forgotten books, and we've found a lot. And those books are worth reading. We have read them, and we have decided that those books are worth reading. And so we talk about books like The Time Machine by H.G. Wells that doesn't get talked about a lot. We talk about The Purple Cloud by M.P. Shiel, which doesn't get talked about a lot. We talk about Herland by Charlotte Perkins Gilman, which doesn't get talked about much at all. We talk about Abraham Merritt, who doesn't get talked about at all. We talk about Homer Eon Flint and Austin Hall and Francis Stevens, who you're not going to find them talked about on other channels. That's what we're doing here. And that's what I really want to do. And I'm going through all the early issues of Weird Tales, because there's tons and tons and tons of stories and authors that I've never heard of. They're in those, and they're available electronically online in archive.org. So you can get those and read those, scans of the original issues. And I started doing that, and more recently Michael K. Vaughan he started doing it. He didn't get too far because he had other things going on. Now he's going to go back to it. So there's two of us that are doing Weird Tales. Well, I'm not stopping with Weird Tales. What I'm doing is trying to go through all the magazines month by month, starting with the first magazine, Weird Tales. When I get to 1926, I'm going to add in Amazing Stories. When I get to 1929, Air Wonder Stories, Science Wonder Stories, 1930, Wonder Stories, Astounding Stories, and I'll keep going and trying to get through those things, because in those magazines are all those authors that I've been wanting to talk about all their work. People like Jack Williamson and Edmund Hamilton and Manly Wade Wellman and Clifford Simic. I'm pulling stories that were originally published in those old pulp science fiction magazines. So I thought, well, there's all kinds of other stuff in those magazines that I'm curious about, and I want to dig into those, because those stories have mostly been lost. Even on my generation, the books we bought, those stories weren't in any of those books, and so we didn't read them. And so I'm discovering tons of stuff back then that just have not been in print. And now they're available because of the internet, and it's really cool to read that stuff. So I wish more people would look into that and read those things, and wish there would be more discussion of them. I wish it wasn't just me and Michael K. Vaughan talking about that stuff, because it really is great stuff. I mean, Weird Tale, Michael's doing Weird Tales because that's where his primary people, Lovecraft and Howard, that's where they published. And but there's so much more in Weird Tales. Otis Adelbert Klein, does anybody talk about him? Nobody talks about him. I've already read and reported on a couple of his stories in the very early issues of Weird Tales. He was one of the first new writers to join Weird Tales and stick with it and become a voice within science fiction. So lots of cool stuff there. And all those things are worth our time, worth our attention, worth remembering. They're not that bad. A lot of it, yes, is dated now, but it's still fun to read. It really is. I would love it if somehow I could get more people to watch more of our videos instead of just watching the big, well-known classic science fiction stuff. I love that stuff too, but I want Telltale Books to be about a lot more than just Robert Heinlein, Isaac Asimov, Ray Bradbury. That's where I get the numbers. And I will get back into Asimov and Heinlein, and while I've been going through Bradbury, but there'll come a point where I'm going to slow down, way down on Bradbury and try and get the magazines to catch up. So, just come on back and watch our videos. We've got a lot of good stuff here, a lot of really interesting stuff. Like I say, The Stand is coming up this week. Authority is coming up. That's a newer science fiction book, part of the Southern Reach trilogy. A lot of people love that. There should be a lot of views of that video. And of course, we're going to continue going through Lovecraft and Poe and Philip K. Dick. Those have all done well for us. More Stephen King coming. I'll be reading his next work, The Long Walk. So another novel right away. That's difficult for me, but I'm gonna make it work. H.G. Wells, I'm reading a lot of his works. I'm starting to come into his really popular works. And of course, I've got more Homer Eon Flint. We're continuing to go through Dangerous Visions. Lots more Francis Stevens. More Austin Hall. That's just looking at October. All right. That's the variety we have coming up for October. And some of them won't go up till November, but, that's what we have coming up just in the next month and a half. Lots of exciting, great stuff. So come on back and watch our videos. I'm going to be here doing them whether our numbers are low or not, but I do wish I was getting through to more people. And I wish I could do that without having to read all the same books everybody else is reading and do all the same types of videos, the book hauls, the book on hauls, the browsing my shelves, all that kind of stuff. I'd rather talk about the books. I'd rather talk about the stories, which means doing reviews. It's the stories that are the exciting thing of what we're all doing here. And that's what I want my channel to be about. And I really wish more people would say, yeah, that sounds great. That sounds like what I want from BookTube. Instead of just getting constant Wheel of Time videos and Brandon Sanderson videos and Romantasy videos and whatever else latest mega series is coming out. Instead of getting endless videos about those same things, or watching 30 different BookTube channels all talk about Guy Gavriel Kay for 3 months. Instead of that, come here and you'll get all the rest of it. And not just science fiction, but we're doing horror, we're doing fantasy, we're doing mystery, we'll do some romantasy and romance. I want to read some westerns. That's one of the things I like about Michael K. Vaughan's channel is he's not just science fiction. He's mostly pulp genres, but he's not just science fiction. He's also fantasy and horror and westerns and mysteries and gets into all of that. And we also want to do literature. I want to do ancient Greek plays. I want to do medieval epics. We want to get into more poetry. We want to get into all the classics. Emily has been talking again about reading Pride and Prejudice. We started once. Neither of us got even 100 pages into it, and we stopped, and we just had other things going and didn't continue with it. Now she's talking about wanting to get back into that, and I'm all for that. I'm reading stuff like Silence of the Lambs. We're going to do a book by David Sedaris coming up. It's a book of short stories about Christmas, but it's comedy and satire. I'm not familiar with Siddharth. This is going to be new to me. It's going to be fascinating. Emily says he's really good. We're going to see. This is the kind of stuff we give you here on Telltale Books, the full spectrum. And stuff that you probably haven't heard of before, or maybe you've heard of the author, but you haven't heard of the specific title. We're digging deeper and getting at stuff that other people just aren't talking about. So you really should be watching us. And I mean, if I can even just get my numbers up to like 50 per video, I'd be super happy. You know, instead of seeing videos that only get 4 views in the first week. That's ridiculous. It's inexcusable. There's no reason for that. Probably a lot of that is just YouTube doing crap to us, but a lot of that is just people not paying attention to us, and they should be, because this is where you're going to get away from the 800th Wheel of Time video. Although, now that I mentioned that, well, Samantha sent me a copy of the first book of the Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan, and she wants us to read it together. And I've been thinking about that, and I live in Two Rivers, Wisconsin. I know that the book at least starts out in a place called Two Rivers. So it's the natural thing for us to do Wheel of Time. I've been thinking somebody should come to Two Rivers and organize a Wheel of Time festival here. It's the natural place for it. I'm sure there are other towns around the United States that are called Two Rivers, but Wisconsin has this one, and it has us. So I need to read at least the first book and report on it, because we live in Two Rivers. Anyway, that's really all I have to talk about for this wrap-up. We're going to be doing a lot of great things going forward. I hope you will come back and watch us if you're watching this video, and I hope you will tell your friends that, hey, there's great things going on this channel. You should really pay attention to it. And come on back, because there's so much more. I'm surrounded by books that I haven't read yet and want to read. Books, magazines. I had a big collection when I started this. I've been spending a lot of money really expanding that collection. It's huge, and getting away from me. I got to build bookshelves, and I want to read it all. I want to report on it all. And when I do, it's going to be here. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Come on back and watch us. Give me a little more numbers. Give me 25 views on my next video, my Stephen King The Stand video. Give me 40 views on it, and I'll be happy. And just keep coming back. I'm going to keep feeding you more. See you next time.